They're hot. It's a Tuesday in Jacksonville. In Los Angeles, a really early Tuesday, still dark out there. It's the 20th day of the fifth month of the year 2025, 7 months and a couple days before Christmas. Oh. Have you thought about it? Given everything else that's going on, the changes we're seeing, the upheaval around the globe, what will things be like come the Christmas season this year? Have you looked forward to that at all? Do you ever look at where we are? Thank goodness we've come this far, and wonder if we'll be happy and comfortable in America by Christmas.
I will tell you, after last night, there are some people's lists who have shortened.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Chris Marks.
And I'm Lee Barris.
And this is Live and Local Real Talk, the chance for us to explore, cuss, and discuss local news events, and we will. Hold our noses and talk about the world of politics, and we will. And look for interesting and fun stuff, never forgetting to keep an eye out for the really weird things out there and in here, like my computer. Although I think Chris Marks, to my left here, has got me pointed in the right direction. I'm going geek. Not Greek. Some have called me a geek over the years, especially when I was really, really young, a teenager back in the day, because of my intrigue for radio, perhaps. Honestly, I never, ever wore a pocket protector. Do you even know what one of those things is? Does anybody out there other than Chris know what a pocket protector is? It's what the geek kids wore in their shirt pockets. It was that thing they put in there. They could put ballpoint pens in. Mm-hmm. And they could leak the pocket protector because it was plastic. And those things look really dirty all the time.
Yeah.
It's a nice shirt that you got on. You got this pocket protector in there. It's got ink all over it. I was proficient in the use, even as a high school freshman, of a slide rule. I knew how to use it. Might have been geekish, perhaps. Better than trying to do long math on paper.
Slide ruler.
What?
Sliding rule?
I'm a squad of geeks, though, to see if they can find some gremlins in my primary computer sitting right here in front of me. I've been reluctant to use them. Honestly, I think it's been because of the name, Geek Squad. One step away from being Ghostbusters. Who knows, the two might be one and the same. I don't know. If green slime shows up, this relationship will end abruptly, likely with a big explosion followed by a pressure test and 600 feet of seawater.
Okay, so we're talking about pocket protector, a slide ruler. Did you wear rubber galoshes on your shoes over your shoes when it rained?
I never I never had what they called rubbers in elementary school. That's okay. What slickers and the boots were called, the galoshes.
Right.
Okay. Never had them. Everyone had that one teacher, though, that wore, not to be disrespectful, like the Coke bottle glasses, had the real tight haircut, that was a librarian.
had the pocket protector in his pocket, wore his pants hitched up way up his chest. You know, God love him.
Oh, yeah.
Did you miss those days?
I do. Yeah, it was just clean and, basically pretty cool. And you did something stupid, then you got your butt beat, and then or your hand. If you're Catholic, the knuckles were around.
Right.
And then you were sent to the office to see the principal.
Yeah, those nuns got those slide rulers out there, popping those hands.
They didn't use slide rulers. They used regular rulers. Slide rulers were
those long ones where they could just reach from the desk.
That was a yardstick. You know the difference between a yardstick and a meter stick?
3 feet.
About 3.5 inches.
You mean they actually have rulers that use metric instead of inches?
Yeah.
This aggravates me. It's just like, you need a 9mm wrench. Why don't you just give me one?
I got a 9mm, but it ain't a wrench.
I think going to the millimeters was the biggest waste of time.
Who went? Everybody but me, I guess.
No, it's still searching for a 9mm. I just keep searching for one that'll fit.
The thing is, I got these socket wrenches.
Right.
Yeah. If you got a box of if you got one that's got them all in it, Have you ever tried to put them all back in the right spot?
Never happens.
First of all, I can't read the numbers on those little sockets, so I got to just. And then, how do you find out? Oh, that looks like a 9mm hit. I don't know. It could be. Maybe it's a 1/4 inch. I don't know. Let me try ball. And you
That's
try
me.
one until it fits.
That's exactly right. And like I have this big unit that you open it up and it's got shelves and then it's got drawers. And I've got 2 of them in my garage. And so when it came time to organize, I took all my wrenches, go in one drawer. And so they're not in their little case that says 7, 9, 10, whatever millimeter. So I'm like you. I just start taking them out and whatever, keep going through them till
I've got one set of sockets, a case.
right.
It was at one of those cheap places.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got all of them in it. But it's got the millimeter on here. You think up here would be the metric stuff. Down here would be the, they've got them side by side. You got to say, oh my God.
What was the whole point in millimeters? Please tell me.
It was somebody out yonder in the other country that we should have whipped them a little bit harder
That's
in the
like
1700s.
Ray,
And then we should have beaten them into submission.
you watch YouTube a lot. I know you do. And have you ever watched any of the cooking videos?
Oh,
I try not to anymore.
Take 500 milliliters of water and add 3 millimeters of eggs. I'm like, what?
The only way I ever got my head wrapped around what a liter and the real terminology and
Right.
the measurements were, like
Uh-huh.
quarts, the only way I ever figured it out, a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola is 67 point something another ounces,
Right.
which
Right.
is almost
2 quart,
Two.
one.
it's
2 liter.
It's 2 liter. It's
Yes.
2 liter bottle. It's got right at a half gallon of water in it. Just
Right.
so a quart and a liter are close enough for government.
Well,
work,
that brings
as far
to
as I'm
mind
concerned.
too. Okay, you
Yes.
said a bottle of Coca-Cola has how many ounces of water in it?
67 point something.
Why couldn't they have made it in even 68?
But because it's a 2 liter bottle, it's
it's,
measured in liters.
Well, why don't they just say it's 68 ounces of delicious drink?
Here you go. Now you got a 16-ounce Coke, right?
Don't start
You got
me.
a 12-ounce Coke, a 10-ounce Coke. They used to have a 6-ounce Coke, but you got a 6-ounce Coke, a 10-ounce Coke, a 12-ounce Coke, a 16-ounce Coke. But then suddenly you jump up to a 2-liter bottle. What?
That's the point I'm
What's wrong
making.
with us?
marketing.
6 ounces of Coke in an 8-ounce bottle, so you feel like you're getting cheated already.
Well, I got screwed up when they came out that silly little millimeter longer cigarette.
yes.
Remember that ad?
Which one?
The
There was
what?
something that was 101 millimeters long. It's a silly little millimeter longer.
What is
A
what?
cigarette?
Yeah, one cigarette.
Oh.
Some brand of cigarettes had it was
I have no
you know,
clue.
it was a hair width longer.
In traveling to these other countries, you meet people from other countries like
Uh-huh.
Canada,
I'm
and they're
sorry.
talking about how many
Donuts.
kilometers.
Yeah, how many clicks?
Instead of I'm sitting here trying to figure out the millimeter, the kilometers equaling the miles. How
Okay.
far are you from
Here
here?
we go. On the speedometer, when you got it in both 88 somethings is equal to 60 miles per hour. Whatever, I don't know. When the man with the blue eye comes on, he'll tell me. Okay, we die. We're
Okay.
crazy. The big stink now is that the White House doctors failed to catch then President Joe Biden's prostate cancer during his regular examinations while he was still president. That's what people are saying. Biden revealed over the weekend that he had cancer and that that had metastasized into his bones. Critics say that if it had been discovered early.
I want to hear him again. I'm just doing an instant replay. Sorry.
No, I'm grabbing the phone and I'm.
Biden revealed over the weekend that he had cancer and that it had metastasized into his bones. Critics say that if it had been discovered early, then Biden's chances of surviving would be better. Online experts, as well as some doctors, claim that the cancer developing to the current stage usually takes years to happen. President Trump said he and the First Lady were saddened to learn of the diagnosis and wish a speedy recovery to Mr. Biden. The White House staff said Trump remains supportive of the White House medical team and expressed confidence in their abilities. At a recent checkup, he was given a clean bill of health. I would get a second opinion. Just saying. I'm just saying.
You see, you bring up a very good point because I know the president of the United States gets
How well?
excellent health care, better than any of us. They have all the resources there. And if this is already bones, talking about Biden,
They say it takes as much as 4 years for that to happen.
how did that get overlooked? Wouldn't they show, I'm not a doctor, wouldn't it show up in blood test or
If I was a conspiracy theorist, I would be one of those clowns just like around that place called Dallas, Texas.
Mhm.
And a guy named Jack Ruby, who after he shot and killed the guy who shot and killed the then president of the United States, was arrested, sentenced, and he died of cancer in prison. If I was a conspiracy theorist,
Yeah.
remember U.S. Representative LaMonica McIver? She's that congresswoman from New Jersey who was involved in the protests at the Immigration Center at Delaney Hall a couple of weeks ago. She and a bunch of others, including the mayor of Newark. He got arrested, charged with trespassing. Those charges have now been dropped. Dear LaMonica,
Jennifer.
she claims she was there to inspect the well-being of the detainees. Well, acting U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey, Alina Habba, has filed charges against MacGyver. What she said was misconduct towards law enforcement officers. She's filed federal charges against her because it was at a federal facility and federal officers were involved. It was a near riot. It was not a protest. It was pushing, shoving. You saw the videos.
Mm-hmm.
And this congresswoman and others, y'all just need to stay tuned. Go ahead and pack a toothbrush. You might need it. Better to use your own than to use something that's been used before when you get there to scrub the floors. It's not. It was a near riot, and I'm glad they got them. I'm glad they got those idiots in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, a few years back. I'm glad they got those. They charged them. They should have been charged. Every one of them that pushed a cop should have been arrested. And there are still out there plenty of them that are going to be arrested because they keep reviewing the videos and they keep popping up. Oh, yeah, I got this facial recognition. Or, oh, yeah, I know Bubba. He was there. I wonder how many more North Carolinians will get it. Good morning, Jennifer. How's my cousin?
Good morning. I'm fine. Just up here making all these red, white, and blue bows and wreaths.
Oh, good.
Hey.
A couple things coming up, June 14th or whatever.
Well, let's see here. This coming Saturday, I'm going to be at the Kiwanis Club of Abington's 43rd annual Plum Alley Day. And it's a big hoo-ha.
Plum Alley Day.
That's
Plum Alley Day. There's an in between two of the main streets. There is an alley that actually has roads. I mean, it's named Plum Alley, and
cool.
It runs for
moving to
several
Tennessee.
blocks. And it's going to be, I think they said 160 vendors, and I mean thousands and thousands of people that go and participate. But I was listening to you, and I wanted to call and weigh in on Biden's prostate cancer. Now,
Yes.
my heart goes out
Mine
to
too.
anyone. I lost my mother to cancer. This is when I was 20 years old. And it was very, very fast. And of course, back in 1985, things weren't. You didn't have the medical technology and stuff that you do now. And the form of cancer that she had, it was already very progressed when we got the diagnosis. But prostate cancer shows up in blood work. It's PSA.
Yep, it
It's
does.
just
Mhm.
like
That's what I'm saying.
after you get a certain age, your doctor is going to suggest you have unpleasant things like colonoscopy.
Uh-huh.
Yes, ma'am.
Men have their prostates examined. They certainly have PSA blood work. As Lee knows, women have mammograms. You have all of this stuff. I have a cousin that his prostate cancer showed up in his blood work, and he is absolutely fine. I have a brother-in-law that his showed up. They went in outpatient surgery, removed it. He never even had to have any follow-up treatment.
Yep.
Everything good to go. Now, I'm pretty sure. Now, I'm going to shoot my conspiracy out there. I'm pretty sure that they have known that Joe Biden has had prostate cancer.
Mhm.
There's no way, to me, logically, for any doctor worth his initials after his name, and especially not a White House doctor, did not know that he had prostate cancer.
It will show up in your blood
And-
test, just like you said, and blood
Yes.
test is a standard operating thing. I get one next
Yes.
week. I get one 4 times a year.
So, with that being said, everybody that has ever heard me call in and say anything about Jill Biden knows how I feel about her
Mhm.
for parading her husband with his cognitive
Issues,
decline
yes.
out in front of everybody. But for that woman to know that her husband was dealing with prostate cancer, and them to hide it, and in my opinion, conveniently decide to announce it to the public the day after the her tape got leaked.
Yeah.
Where, to me, that's just a little bit on the suspicious side.
I agree with you.
I mean, it really, really is. So, Jill Biden, I already thought was one of the lowest women I had ever heard of. But now, in my opinion, she's just hit rock bottom.
Oh, yeah.
She was not. I never really thought she was that good
No.
of a first lady,
No. No, she wasn't.
Well, no.
much less of a first wife
she
to
was
do
good.
that to your husband.
Mostly cover up, and then let's party.
She
Yeah.
wanted to wear the title.
Mhm.
She
Yes, ma'am.
wanted to be out there.
And reap
She
the benefits.
fed off of all of that. She wanted to be in the spotlight. And that's why she kept pushing him. And that's just my little take on it. But I hope y'all have a
Good take,
wonderful
Jennifer.
day.
You too,
Thank you,
Jennifer.
Jennifer. You take care, cuz.
All right.
All right, bye. We're gonna go to a place that is 4,251 kilometers from Jacksonville, North Carolina. It's out there called Los Angeles and the
California or
suburbs
somewhere.
of Los Angeles. But it is 4,251 kilometers from Jacksonville. I checked it this morning. Good morning, Charlie. How are you?
I really don't care about Joe Biden. There are approximately 350 million people in the United States of America. This individual was corrupt from every aspect about this monster is corrupt.
Yep.
There's so many lies put in place. There's so many horrific things with the Afghanistan withdrawal, and probably billions or trillions of other amounts of money that are still unaccounted for. This is a corrupt human being. And here's the beauty about it. I see all these people talking about putting out their condolences on social media, saying, we may be differing in our opinions, but hang in there, Joe. Are you kidding me? If this was Donald Trump, all of those people wanted Trump dead. That's a fact. Not all of them. 80% of them, they're upset that he was not assassinated. They're upset that Trump does not have cancer. These people are absolute monsters. And it's kind of cute and funny. And everybody's got a cancer story, a breast cancer story, an abuse story,
Yeah.
a beaten story, an abandoned story. These are monsters. And now you want to like put them in a category like these are really good people. We all got to come together as one. These are monsters. Do I wish death on this guy? Absolutely not. I want to see this clown in handcuffs. I want to see this monster sitting in the jail cell. I want to see him getting maybe bad things happen in jail. Anyway, but I have two other things very quickly. Can I share them with you?
Sure, go ahead.
So you guys know do you know who James Comer is?
Yes.
Yeah.
James Comey, yes.
Oh, do I know who he is? Yeah, the Comey gang.
So I guess he's on the oversight committee. So now they're trying to figure out.
Coburn, not Comey. I got you. Sorry.
Right. So they're trying to figure out who was really in charge. So if you go to his X page, Twitter, and you go to him, they're bringing in Joe Biden's senior staff for interviews. And they're going to start with these people. And these are the names. The first name is Mira Tandem. The other one is Annie Tomasini. The other one is Anthony Bernal. The other one is Ashley Williams. These are the people, I guess, that they believe were kind of in charge. But I don't think any of them were in charge. Somebody was in charge over them. I really hope they get to this. And here's another thing. I hope all those auto pen signatures, if they do declare him as incompetent, senile, not aware of what he was doing, elderly, wouldn't it fall under elderly abuse?
It should.
Force him to sign, to acknowledge those documents. I'm not sure how the law works, federal law or whatever it's called, to overturn all those pardons that have an auto pen signature on there.
I'll tell you,
I don't know if they can do it.
Charlie, you know who was in charge?
Barry Obama and the Democratic National Committee.
Karine Jean-Pierre, his press secretary.
Yep.
She's the one that always said what he was saying.
She's illiterate.
Oh, I know. I was kidding.
No. I don't think she was in charge at all.
Puppet.
I think that she was a puppet. She's a DEI puppet. She's a black lesbian woman. They brought her in. I'm not sure why. They brought her in because they believe that she would appease to a certain younger demographic. With regards to her being in charge, absolutely not. She's not smart enough. You ever see the encyclopedias that she brings to those meetings compared to the new press secretary? She brings in books and books and stacks and stacks and stacks because her brain isn't able to quickly formulate answers and questions, to how to answer questions. No, she wasn't. She was a spokesperson that was a liar. Yeah, she was 100% in charge of lying for them. But behind the scenes, her brain doesn't understand how the government works, how universal wars, everything. No, she's just a puppet. But go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Charlie, you mentioned President Trump and people wanting him assassinated. Now they're questioning whether or not he was being sincere in his wishes to the former president. That
You're screwed if you do, screwed if you don't.
Yeah.
So just do what you want to do what you think is right, and move on. And that's what he's doing. He's going to let that run right off his back, just like water off a duck.
One last thing that I was researching online. Do you guys remember Hurricane Helen?
Helene.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember it.
Yeah, Helene.
I don't remember. Remember Hurricane Helene?
No,
Yep.
I do.
I remember
I
it
saw
well.
something online earlier. I'm convinced that people that work in the insurance industry, I'm not sure if they work for the company to make them money or if they screw their clients. I think they're only there for the profit. But anyway, I saw something online where Allstate Insurance, they showed one home that was damaged during Hurricane Helene. And they offered the homeowner, I guess, $40,000. I'm not sure how it works. The homeowner brought in their own independent contractor. But before I say that, other Allstate Insurance agents said yes, they were told to change the contract, find the cheapest price, lie about everything. Allstate offered her $40,000. Her independent contractor, how much do you think the independent contractor said it's going to cost to fix everything?
No telling how much.
$500,000. So it just goes to show what a scam the insurance industry truly is.
I can't concur with you. I know that I will never say the industry. I will say there are going to be cases, just like you're talking about there. But I will tell you also that during the most recent hurricane that we had any damage here, our house, not this one, but another house that we had at the time, there was some severe roof damage. And the adjuster came in. He looked said, here's what it will cost. Here's what we estimate. If you find it's going to be anything differently, when you go find your contractor to do it, well, ours came up. It didn't even tell him how much it was, how much we were getting. He came up with almost exactly the same price. He did the work. We got the money. He got paid. That was a done deal. Same thing in Wilmington. In 1984, at my house there at the time, I had a lot of damage, a lot of roof damage, but the price of doing business in those days was a whole lot cheaper. My dad was also a general contractor. I gave him the square footage of the house and what was done, took pictures of it, showed it to him, and he told me how much it would cost, and then added a profit margin for whoever was going to do the work. And I called a contractor, and guess what? That's what it came out to be. And it was a done deal. The insurance company said, well, you got a better price than I could have given you. I was going to give you more money. I said, I don't want it. I just want what it's going to cost. And that was a done deal. So I the only two cases in my life that I've ever had to deal with an insurance company were those two cases. And I was treated 110% like a good old American.
Yeah, okay, I don't know. Maybe you're right. What do I know?
Yeah, you
I
know.
got nothing more to add. I got nothing more to add. You guys have a good day.
Bye.
too.
Bye. By the way, if you want to drive from here to the suburbs of LA where he is right now, it'll take you 39 hours of consistent driving. Take I-40.
Yeah,
Just
that's
to
not
let you know.
bad.
Boaters and fishermen today is looking pretty good if you plan to try some near shore and offshore fishing. Northeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 3 feet every 3 seconds, and that's okay, though a little sloppy in little boats. Leave your bathtubs in the bathroom and find someone with a stable boat to go out there today. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop. Water temperatures approaching the mid-70s along the southern North Carolina coast. Wednesday, not so good. Southwesterly winds 15 to 20 knots. Whoa, increasing to 20 to 25 in the afternoon tomorrow. Gusts up to 30. Seas 2 to 4 feet, building to 4 to 6 in the afternoon. Sounds and rivers choppy, becoming rough in the afternoon. If you're going, go very early and come back before noon. Thursday, less bad. Westerly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop.
Today, mostly sunny with a high near 84. Light and variable wind becoming northeast 5 to 8 miles per hour in the morning. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms late tonight. Mostly cloudy with a low around 69. Wednesday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, partly sunny with a high near 89. And Thursday, a slight chance of showers, sunny with a high near 84.
Ladies and gentlemen, on your marks, start your engines. You ready?
Yeah.
Get set. The number is 910-333-0139, 910-333-0139. You want to chat? 100 and how many people were?
About 180.
180 people
They were online.
online watching last night's county commission meeting. I did not watch it intentionally with malice aforethought. My wife wouldn't let me.
Oh, I did.
My wife won't let me watch these things because I have guns in the house.
Over 3 hours.
And I might start shooting that 65-inch, a very expensive Bravia TV set that I bought.
I was there live.
They won't let me carry a gun there either.
No, they won't. Live and local. I was there.
I know.
And
I heard, and you did a great job, and thank you for the plug.
well, you're welcome. I was thanking the media that helps support Reese Honor and our fallen veterans.
Uh-huh.
And on that note, let me say that one of the most happy moments there, besides the Boy Scouts being there and presenting the
So they said
commissioners
the
with a
meeting's
bunch of
over?
certificate. Oh, that's
Turned.
But Commissioner Paul Buchanan, for those that weren't there or didn't
I like
watch
Paul.
it, he is a Purple Heart Vietnam veteran.
2 times.
2 times. He was
I also got wounded in the line of duty here.
That's-
because I
That was
there-
one
I
of the
was
2
there when it
times,
happened.
yes.
Yeah, and so he was pinned with a 50-year commemorative Vietnam pin and given a proclamation by President Donald Trump for being a Vietnam veteran. He was teary-eyed.
Mhm.
Kathy presented him with pinned him.
She did well.
I thought you did. I thought
She
looked
didn't drop
sharp.
the pin.
No.
She looked sharp.
She
She
didn't stick it.
Dressed
No
blue.
blood.
No blood.
Oh, shucks.
And
Oh, you could stay. You could take it.
She
We're going
did
to
a
get you a
good
third
job.
Purple Heart for that.
and presented him with with a special
Just kidding, Paul.
coin. what was interesting is before that, the first speaker on the fire, Mac McDonald.
Mac McDonald. Great.
So there was a lot of applause and cheering when he mentioned something, and the chairman Tim Foster said, "Decorum, proper etiquette stuff. So don't clap or applause or anything." So when Paul got
robbed.
He got robbed
and
with the applause because just a few people.
Well, or for Paul, I know you're listening, boy. If you're not, so June, wake his butt up. Ready?
Yeah, okay.
Well deserved.
He was welcomed home.
It was a very nice thing that you did. It was a nice ceremony. I was getting teary-eyed watching it, and he was very humble. And I did feel like the events of last night did take away from that moment for him. But in all our hearts, thank you so much. And it was a nice thing. And all right, let's talk
Now
about
I got some stories to tell you about Paul. If you want.
Yeah.
No,
Now-
I'm just kidding, Paul. I won't do it.
He was
We're
wounded
both
in
guilty.
Vietnam, and he was also wounded on duty working with the sheriff's office. And so,
It was in Swansboro, right?
It was.
Yes, it was in Swansboro.
I was there.
I think he said he had like 13 pellets in his arm.
Yeah.
He got hit with some pellets from him by a guy that's never been tried. The guy killed his brother. Had killed another man at the end of a high-speed chase. He kidnapped his dead brother's wife, and they went. And the guy had just been released from Sherry
Oh my gosh.
with a note.
Wow.
I got the medical record of it. He was released to see how he would perform in the public, to see how he would function
Oh, wow.
in the public.
wow.
2 people dead later. Paul was wounded. And the guy, Mr. Glancy, was never tried because he's a nut.
It's Kathy. Yeah, and as soon as we take this phone call, I want to talk about the commissioners meeting last night.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Kathy.
Who we have?
Kathy. Stephanie, aka Stephanie.
I
Get
think-
your names right.
Well, I thought it was
AKA
Stephanie. I
Stephanie.
get it confused. Is this K or S?
Stephanie.
Hey, Stephanie, how you doing?
Kathy. I'm Stephanie Kathy, Corporal Colonel.
Hey, Corporal Colonel, how you doing, girl?
Yeah, you
I'm
got
doing great. How about you guys?
Yeah, I'm fine. We're nuts.
I'm doing super. About last night, let me tell you, it was an amazing event for me. So much pride to be able to pin Paul Buchanan. Just standing up next to him alone was meaningful to me, and then to be able to pin him. But when I pinned him and he shook my hand, I looked in his eyes, and you could see that he was getting teary-eyed, and he thanked me. And then held my hand, and I was like,
y'all made me
it was like-
teary-eyed here.
Oh, it was awesome. It was just awesome. He was, and then, like I said, he was so thankful, and he really, I think he really was thankful that he was welcomed home for the second time, and in the way that he should have been. And I think it meant so much to him. But I do think he was robbed of his fame and glory.
I think he was robbed of his
Well,
fame.
he's got it. He's got it.
Yeah, but we all know, and I'm sure those sitting there that had other reasons for being there that were snickering during the whole meeting. I
Shame on
think
them.
deep down they felt it too. I would hope so.
Yeah.
So
Yes, I do.
Well,
I do.
thanks
But he deserved
for
it
doing that.
so much.
He does.
You're so welcome. It was, like I said, it was an honor for me. And of course, I got a lot of looks when I walked in there with my blues on. Everybody was looking at me like, "What the heck
Look
is the
sharp, girl.
Ruh-roh.
You looking sharp.
Just tell them
Yeah.
this is an invasion, and I by myself outnumber y'all. That's what you should have said.
Right.
I
I'm a
was going to
Marine.
say I'm collecting for Toys for Tots.
Probably. Well, I'm not going to say what I just almost said, but
No, I'm not gonna say what I-
probably could have.
You did a good job.
Yes, you did well.
I appreciate it. And
Good
you
job.
guys have a
Good job.
great day.
You
All
too.
right, now next time you see Paul, go ahead and kick into the shins just for to get even.
not me, man.
Hey,
No, me.
well,
Just kidding. Just kidding.
He's done so much for this county.
He's a gentleman. He wouldn't
Yes,
hurt
he
you.
is.
I
He's
know,
just,
but I got too much respect
yeah.
for the man.
I
So,
do
I do too, but I'm gonna still kick him in the shins.
Yes.
okay, you go for it.
Thanks, Steph.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, and then he went to pot.
Well, okay, first of all,
So I wasn't there, and I didn't look at it, and didn't
Oh.
listen to it. I got messages.
look, I almost started drinking last night, and you know, I don't
From a
drink.
phone in the toilet. Where
But
it belongs.
okay, much respect goes out to the commissioners that bore every bit of that last night because it got really, it got ugly in the way that a lot of these people who spoke showed very little respect. And at times like this, okay, first of all, this was a county commissioner meeting, which they have an agenda, and their job is to start with the agenda, finish with the agenda. The public is invited. The public is invited during public comment to talk about things. This was not a commissioner versus fire department called meeting. And there was lots of comments, especially on social media. How dare the commissioners award the Boy Scout with certificates and vice versa, or, you know, make mention of the great job that our EMS is doing, our 911 operators. How dare they? They're just trying to waste time so they don't have to deal with this fire department issue.
They're trying
Okay.
to carry out the business of the evening.
Last night was not about that. Last night was a commissioner meeting. Yes, you have the right to speak in public comment, but it was a packed house with the intention of, I say, a group of people wanting to voice their discern over what they feel like is not a fair contract. Okay, first of all, as we know, you know, I know, we all know that the commissioners have a committee within the commissioners that met with a committee of fire chiefs.
3 individuals.
They have been working
therefore
on
they could
this.
meet and would not be a quorum. They could have a maximum of 3. They had all 3
They have been working on this for months and months and months.
with 4 of the fire chiefs from those 13 fire departments who were
Primarily
selected,
agreeing to
who
everything.
were selected, I presume, by all of the fire chiefs. Would you? Do you know how they were selected?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I
but-
don't know, but that's what I would have assumed. So,
And much respect
Correct
to the
me
fire
when I'm
chiefs, much respect.
absolutely.
But my understanding from listening to what the commissioners have said and talking to someone on an individual basis, everything was going along well. Now, there was times where, you know, they during negotiations are like, well, you know, we kind of would like for this to be like this, blah, blah, blah. They negotiated, they changed wording. I know Commissioner Buchanan last night was saying that I met with these people, we sat down, we changed some of the wording, so we negotiated this or that. Everything was going along fine until it was time to sign. And what I've seen is you've had a small group evolve from this larger group that suddenly wanted to go no holds bar. So a lot of people came in last night in support of the fire department, which I don't think a lot of them even knew the details on what's been done and how it evolved.
Okay, well, first of all, we're going to clear in here a group of the 3 of us,
Mhm.
and I'm sure we'll speak for Kelly here. Every one of us supports the volunteer firefighters.
Absolutely.
That whole concept, we like all 13 volunteer fire departments. We count on them. I lived in a district here and in Wilmington that was served in the past by volunteer firefighters. And they were the backbone of the, number one, they're the
Absolutely.
backbone of the community. They
Absolutely.
were formed within a community. I know the history. I lived part of the history, dating back to 1950, 48, 49, 50, that era. But I grew up in fire departments on the peripheral, but I was not a member, but I was part of the community where they served, where they collected money. I donated. We all did. That's what it was all about. And now it's become a contentious affair, and they seem to be fighting the establishment.
That's exactly what it
And
was.
that's concerning.
All of a sudden now, you know, God forbid the county builds us something nice and everybody says thank you. They forget about all the things that the county does to keep us safe and to keep us supplied and to make sure we have, you know, we can afford our homes and, you know, all the things that go with that. But You just do one little thing, and all of a sudden you're the Gestapo.
No, they didn't do one little thing. What they have had contracts in the past with firefighters, with the fire departments, right?
Yes.
So that they give them a certain amount of money. $2 million, I think, was the general amount given, shared amongst the firefighters,
Yes.
fire departments, 13 of them. And this year they came up with a contract, but they put a stipulation in this contract this year. We're going to give you this money, $8 million. But we want to protect the citizens, the taxpayers, those people who came up with this $8 million. We want to protect them to make sure that you got 13 departments. What are the chances that one or more of those departments, you know how much a fire truck costs?
$1 million.
A lot of money.
Up from $750,000 to $1 million for a basic fire truck. Okay.
And for your fire department to go defunct and out of business and your 501(c)(3) is taken away from you, let's just go to Pender County and sell them our fire truck. No, that's our fire truck.
Yeah, that is what they were trying to do, to make sure that, first of all, that firefighting equipment that was purchased by Onslow County tax dollars will remain in Onslow County to protect the citizens, the same people that you're currently protecting, because there would have to be another fire station formed up or to take over or join forces to protect those same people in that community.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's what has to be done. Now, why would you want to be able to, why would anyone think it would be okay, we got this $1 million fire truck, it's only a year old, so we're going to go belly up and we're going to go collect that $1 million for ourselves and have a party or whatever.
I agree with you 100%. And see, those things people don't think about. And, and nobody last night at the meeting said, oh, yeah, we can understand that. No, they were hell-bent on going after the commissioners last night. That's all it was.
One of the things they brought up, and I saw it because I live in the Rhodestown area, where the former Rhodestown Fire Department is now
nice
vacant.
Building
they have a very nice building on 258. It's beautiful. State art. And Piney Green.
Who's making the payments on the Piney Green Fire Department?
Well, the old fire department, the old one that is there on the Piney Green Road, I went by it Sunday.
That's been there for years.
And I looked at it. I said, I just kind of expected to see it's been vacated.
Mm-hmm.
I expected to see sort of a rundown. No, that's a good looking building.
Great place to put an EMS unit in there.
That's sort of where things started, I think. The county said, we've got EMS units. We got 2-man EMS units sitting around all over the county, parked, engines running. Summertime, wintertime, trying to stay cool in the summer and hot and warm in the winter.
Right.
And they're available with the engines running. They're available to go run these calls.
Right.
Why not put them in buildings? Well, it's kind of expensive to start from scratch to build one.
Right.
So
it's Phil.
What's interesting is the meeting opened with awards and presentations.
Yes.
The EMS got, and the young lady spoke. They did 28,000 calls last year. EMS did 28,000 calls. The Boy Scouts did some presentations.
Yes.
And then
and all the commissioners are now honorary Boy Scouts. Congratulations.
Tony Padgett tried his whole life to be a Boy Scout.
To think about being a Boy Scout.
Congratulations.
But Tony
I'm
tried
not
all
letting
his
this one
life.
go with Robin.
Tony tried all his life to be a Boy Scout, and now at the age of whatever Tony is, he's a Boy Scout.
He's 27.
Yeah, well, I've got more to say, but we have a caller, Phil.
Hey, Phil, what's up?
Good. I've been listening that you guys talk about the fire stuff.
Yeah.
When I was on the rescue squad with Homes Run Rescue before the county shut us down and all that, and I understand why, and trying to say consolidate everything, the volunteers are hard to come by nowadays. But when it all came about, I want to say, I forgot what year it was, in the, I think it was like 2010 it came about. The rescue squads had 2 members sat on the board, the committee, 2 fire department people sat on the committee. You had a citizen that was voted by the county commission and I believe the county commissioner had, was involved, and I think somebody else, I can't remember, but that's how it was. Each, like the fire department had the fire chiefs, and they appointed people to sit on that committee to voice. And the thing is, did those people go back to the fire chiefs and tell them exactly what's going on? Or do they held out to the last minute and say, well, this is not what we agreed on, this is what we were supposed to agree? Do they get the facts straight to everybody?
Well, that was mentioned last night too, whether or not, are they going back and giving the volunteers the correct information? I don't know. I'm not there, but that was also brought up last night.
The departments can, because they take notes. They have someone from the county. It's like a second. They record it. I know they video record it. The whole meeting. They, the last part, they record all the meetings and everything like that. So those people should be able to get these records if the county, if they get paperwork that they're, the county needs. So that's something that people need to look at if they still record it. At one time they did.
The county?
Yes.
Yes. Everything. And then you can watch it live online too. Several places.
No, I'm talking about the
meetings that.
The meeting between the fire commission.
That's not live.
And,
No.
I
They don't do it online, but I know at one time they voice recorded.
Yeah, I have no idea. So, but anyway, there are records there you could go request and, see what you see what you get. I don't know. I don't know how it went down. You were with the rescue squad. Rescue.
22 years.
A lot of folks will say, yeah, thank you. But that's not your only job, right?
That is correct.
Okay. But for rescue squads, way back in the day, and I got a picture over here from something back in the 70s, a rescue squad, Jacksonville rescue squad. These are all volunteers. They didn't have any paid people. They did not really have any trained medical personnel. They had some first aid trainings, and some of them had CPR training. I ran into that in the 70s. But it's not the same EMS units. Emergency response people that we have today is not the rescue squads of yesteryear.
That is correct.
There is so much training that has to be done, and people expect it. They don't expect a $250,000 EMS who are volunteers that just came in out of the corn. That's not what we expect today in Oslo County, is it?
No.
Or anywhere else in this country. You've got to have, if you're going to do this, you've got to have trained medical personnel. Back in those days, we had 2 ambulance services. Both of them were funeral homes.
Yeah.
They ran direct calls. They did this. They did that. They picked them up. They took them to the hospital. On the time that they called, well, they didn't need them. But they just bagged them and took them in. But today, and then they only call that the rescue squad if somebody was trapped. If there was a multi-car deal, and that's when the rescue squads were called out to try to extricate people. That was it. They were not out there trying to perform life-saving measures on people in those days. Today, they do IVs. They hook you up. They got medical gear. They know what they're doing.
They get blood.
Yep.
They do a lot
So grateful
more.
for them.
Yes.
So you can't depend on volunteers to do that because they don't have the time to devote to something like that. It would be ridiculous for the amount of training that they would have to do it, right?
And volunteerism has changed over the years. I really do think, and I will continue to say it, that when COVID hit, it changed a lot of people. People don't go out and do like they used to. They don't get involved like they used to. But I think that the county is looking ahead in the future. What if you've got a fire department that the volunteers just quit coming?
Yeah.
What kind of fire protection?
You have to look at.
Well,
that's
happened.
And for that fire district, you have no protection. And you've got to send fire stations from outside of that district to come in and help.
Look at the county, what they did to Bear Creek.
That's right.
You know, that department was run down.
Well, they weren't responding. They couldn't respond. They didn't have enough people.
Responding to calls.
Yeah.
Not trying to lower the ISO rating, so the county had to step in. The county looked at other departments to help, take over,
Yep.
but none of them will do it. So the county stepped in, took over,
Right.
Fire trucks are not cheap. Ambulances are not cheap.
No.
The gear, the equipment stuff is not cheap to have,
Well, Let me mention this because Chairman Foster mentioned this last night in his closing remarks. The fire departments are funded by the county,
That's right.
Yeah.
but let's think about it. They do their own fundraisers too.
Yes,
the
they do.
turkey shoots, the
I bought many the ticket.
barbecues,
Yes.
things like that. So they're trying to do their best to raise
that's,
funds.
and kudos to them for doing that. It's
Yeah.
been that's part of what the community is all about.
That's
in a fire
right.
district.
That's
The Pumpkin Center Fire District. I don't know what they're doing now, but I know what they used to do.
Yeah, that used to be
Constantly.
my fire department. Yeah. I love
I used to
Pumpkin
live right
Center.
across from the fire station, and that siren going off at 3:00 in the morning will wake the
Be
dead.
sitting in your mail vehicle in the parking lot, sorting mail, and it goes off. There was
The
mail
mail is
everywhere. Oh, man.
When
I
I
could tell you
first moved to
stories.
North Carolina, I heard the sirens go off.
Yep.
It was a beautiful day during the summertime. It was around June time frame. And I heard the siren. I'm like, that's a tornado siren.
That's right.
Yeah.
You came from the
I
Midwest.
I moved back to Ohio and everything. And where I grew up, when I heard that's tornadoes. I looked at my mom was like, that's a tornado siren. But it's nice, no clouds in the sky whatsoever. I'm like, what the heck's going on?
It's 12 noon.
And the
my
best.
mom's friend said, that's the fire department. They have a call. I was like, that's weird. That's how
There was
they get alerted back then.
there was one fire station, and somewhere in the Midwest, they always set their sirens off to test them every day, high noon. Period. Bottom line,
Yeah.
you could set your clocks by it. They decided not to do that anymore until they got protests. You know why they protested? The women were protesting. You know why the women were protesting? Because they used that as their time to go take that pill every day.
What?
The pill. It reminded them to take their pill every day.
I object to that comment.
No. It's a fact. There was a story about it.
It didn't work for everybody.
That's because you didn't live in a fire district that set their sirens off every day. God help me. What happened when there was a fire? I had to take 3 a day.
Because the county and 13 fire departments can work.
Somehow I missed the alarm that day.
They need to do something. Yeah, there needs to be something. But it's good to have to sit down in a room together and act like gentlemen and ladies. And that's going to be the very first thing that's going to have to happen. And they need a moderator in there with a water pistol.
Right. Well,
to shoot
after
everybody.
Phil hangs up, you're not going to take any more calls because we're going to get out what we really want to say.
Ruh-roh. I think I'm going to take a
I'm
nap.
going to be
Have
respectful.
a good one.
Very
All right. Thank you,
respectful.
Phil.
Thanks,
All right,
Phil.
bye.
Thanks,
All
Phil.
right, bye.
And let me start by saying I respect all the volunteers. The
Every
EMS
one of
fire-
them.
They are fantastic people. I have donated over the years. I have, given what I could, bought tickets and all that. I respect them and will continue. And I'm not going to say that it was all the representatives that showed up last night.
Oh, I'm sure.
For the most part, most of them were very respectful. But you've always got a few in the crowd. But when a commissioner is speaking and you've got people smirking, rolling their eyes, and laughing, okay, that needs to stay home. And you had one person that got out there last night and right away started talking about the county manager. Well, I bet he got to negotiate his contract and he's making such and such, and he got fired from his last job. And of course, she got gavelled and people got upset. Okay, that has no place. That has no bearing on what this whole thing is about.
I need to be
It
the
was
sergeant at
wrong.
arms.
It was
Hire me,
disrespectful.
Paul. Hire me. I'll do it for next to nothing.
I don't know David
Donuts.
Smitherman's business. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
We-
I'm not interested in it. I don't care.
We put our trust in by our votes
That's right.
with 7 people. The majority of the people in this county voted for
Absolutely.
the 7 people that are on that board. We can't go as people, individuals, all 200,000 of us in this county go decide who is going to be the next county manager, who's going to be the next guy in charge of the ditch digging, who's going to be in charge of mosquito control. They got to hire somebody. The county commissioners can't do that either.
Right.
They don't have the
right.
time. They hire a person. They agree on this one individual. We have agreed to let those 7 people decide what is best for us. With our input, obviously, we should do
Yes.
that. We should always have that. And that's what county commission meetings are all about. We have input, but we have a responsibility to act like human beings and not little spoiled brats.
Well,
And
you
I
would
got
have
something
want
to
to
say.
read the comments that were online last night
They
during
should.
the meeting. Of course, once again, it was just a small group making these
Yeah, and that's
comments.
the problem.
But what I found
noisy.
is that most of them were making comments about things they have no clue about. They have no clue. They have no clue how a meeting is actually run. They have no clue that there is agenda. You have to follow the agenda. They have no clue that when somebody comes to the podium and they're disgruntled, the commissioners don't sit there and go back and
No.
forth with them. The commissioners say nothing until the end of the meeting. And if they would like to remark on it, then they can. This was a regular commissioner meeting. This is how they run. This is how they operate. But and if you upset about the fire contract and all that, where were you during the meetings? Where were you when they opened up the meetings for the public? Where were you?
You bring up a great point.
Same thing with the budget every year.
Oh yeah, the budget.
Before they go into public comment, the chairman, Tim Foster, will go through the rules for public comment. You got
Yes.
5 minutes. You're not supposed to direct any comment at any one particular commissioner and or I guess in reality to the county manager or to a county staff member. It's to the board of commissioners. Granted, we pulled Paul out for something else, but you don't direct it to him.
But you had
Commissioner-
already planned that
Right,
with
with-
chairman.
Yes, with the
Foster.
What
chairman.
you're
It
talking
was straight
about,
up.
we're talking about public input. They do not, you're
Direct
not
it.
supposed to get up and direct it, comments
Right.
towards or against any individual.
Correct.
Period, bottom line. This thing that we call, that we rely on, starts out with "we the people." It does not say anything about "we the clueless."
Well, yeah.
Well, there was.
And
Thank
but Lee, you hit the key word, respect. Before Phil hung up, you said respect. You said something about respect. Robin Knapp and a lot of them mentioned, you respect me, I'll respect you. If you disrespect
Well, see,
me,
That shouldn't even have to
you,
be said.
it shouldn't have to be
No,
said.
they don't.
You know, I went when Kathy and I went up. I greeted the chairman, the vice chairman, and the board.
Right.
That's how I did
Protocol.
protocol.
Wow, I can't even.
So that's a
Protocol. Yeah.
Protocol better.
What?
Whatever you said.
Protocol.
and
That sounds almost like an exam. Okay, go ahead.
but it just you have to go if you're going to go and talk about anything, pro or con, it doesn't matter. Show respect. On this program, I think everybody that sits in these chairs or in a guest chair are treated with respect. Both ways.
You talk about respect, and I think the one thing that really, really super bothered me last night was I've seen in watching last night the hurt, and yes, county commissioners have feelings too, but the hurt with some of them that, they have given so much and worked, like you and I say, we've worked for years and years and years and years on the radio. We've built up a friendship.
Mhm.
And for you to come after me like some of these were going after some of the commissioners, I could see the hurt in some of the commissioners, and it really bothered me because you know what? I would say for the most part, most of them, all of them, have worked so hard at giving the people in this county a chance and opportunities, and they've done so much for growth in this area. And for some of them to have lifelong friendships and then to be stabbed in a personal attack like they were, that really bothered me.
You know,
That's
these commissioners are humans, whether you like to believe it or not. And it's how would you get? Let's just say that you got 7 people up there, and they say, "Mr. Chairman, would you hit that gavel, please?" Now, I want to say something about you, Mrs. Who was the lady? Parker, Harper Valley PTA.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was Mr. Yada, yada, yada. How would you like me to point out somebody in this room and say, you know what? Mr. So-and-so and so-and-so, or Ms. So-and-so and so-and-so, I'm a county commissioner, but I know about what you do.
Right.
How would you like me to take and dissect your private life? How would you like me to tell the public, everybody in here, everything I know about you, or everything I suspect about you, or about the rumors that I've read about you on Facebook? How would you like me to do that
Facebook was horrible
in this
last
public
night.
meeting that's going to be recorded forever in the government files? That's what you're doing to us. So you wanted me to do something like that? No, we're better suited. We are under control. You should be the same thing.
Well, there was
You should be the same way.
people making comments like, "We're not going to vote for you anymore," and they were
Okay.
calling commissioners out by name and blah blah blah, and all you do is talk about yourself, and all you do.
Then you
Okay,
put
first
politics up there, and you're doing wrong. When you do that, when you mention, "I'm not going to vote for you, I'm not going to support you,"
You know
okay.
what my answer to that is? Go right on down to the Board of Elections
Put your name
on
in.
Georgetown Road and sign the
There will
paperwork.
not be one person in there that will do that.
Because I
Because they do
guarantee
not
you,
have the intestinal
your
fortitude to do
attitude's
it.
going to change. If you were elected county commissioner, your attitude's going to change.
Oh, it'll change the day you sign on the dotted line
Because
to want to run.
it's a
Because it's going to
whole
be
different thing.
downhill from there because you're a public official then.
There you go. And that's a good point because Chairman Foster mentioned that, yes, I am a politician. He said, I'm not going to lie to you.
Every
I'm a
elected official's
politician. The minute you
politician.
sign your name,
It's
Yeah.
part of it.
I know, but Rayford just said, when you sign your name,
That's right.
okay, you're a politician.
You're in
Now,
the public eye.
there was one commissioner said, began his talk with, I'm not a politician. They're all politicians.
And they went after him too. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
but
Well-
it was just crazy. But let me just say this one thing. We elected these commissioners.
We did.
If you're unhappy with them, you know what to do when next time you go to the polls. But sit back and think about all the things that they have done for us. And it's all right to not agree with everything. There's going to be different commissioners that maybe made a statement that I didn't agree with, but it doesn't mean I'm going to go throw water in their face, or disrespect them or stop being a friend. That's
There are
ridiculous.
several of those commissioners up there that have heard the same thing that I will tell you now.
Yes.
Several of them, they have heard when they're arresting somebody or they're stopping somebody, I pay your salary.
Oh,
Oh, how far do you think that's going to get you?
my
I'm
uncle
going to
is a
tell you how far
commissioner.
that's going to get you. Nowhere. Here's your ticket. Have a good day.
Well,
Bless your heart.
let me bring up another
Hey,
point.
that's what you just did last night when you said, I'm not going to vote for you.
So don't.
Okay.
You've had a group of about, I'd say, 50 people between who was present and then the ones online that were dissatisfied, and no matter what you said,
Disrespectful.
they were not going to give an inch. Okay,
Okay.
that's the right, fine, whatever.
Elections, what? We don't have one this year for
We have
county commission.
municipal. Municipal.
Yeah, go vote
elections,
against
but,
all the city council people.
but the thing about it
Make sure
is,
you can vote against all the, or
you can
few of the county
show
commissioners.
your voice when you go to vote.
Right
you
now,
can-
you're showing your butt.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it was all of them. It was a group.
No,
it was a
no,
group,
no,
as always. But last night was not the place to get in a big war over it. It was a county commissioner meeting, and they have to follow the agenda. They have to follow all the protocols, all the rules, the regulations, et cetera, et cetera. I'm glad to know that people did feel like they could voice their opinion, but I think there was a lot of disrespect shown that was not warranted.
Now, if you want to have a disrespect meeting, why don't you request such a meeting with your group of people, a special meeting? if the county commissioners agree to it, they can set up a meeting for you to listen to them, and they can listen to you as a group. Is it going to make any difference? Is it going to will there be any changes? I don't know. Could there be? Yeah. Do I get last night? No.
Well,
absolutely not. A barrier has been raised.
What
so
difference?
You want to do it the right way? That will be the right way.
I mean, I've read this contract from beginning to end. I've heard both sides. I've read the statements, everything. I personally, as a citizen of Onslow County, as a taxpayer of Onslow County, think it's a great contract. Now, I know that there's some departments that do not want to sign it. Fine, don't sign it.
That's
You've got a whole year. Next year, you can renegotiate. But you know what? Let's go on with life and quit fighting.
Well, here's what you might want to give some serious consideration to for in your district, whatever district it is. I don't care.
You're not going to get the money, but go on.
It doesn't matter. If you decide, I'm not going to sign this, good. Then you will be responsible to all of those citizens that live there. Are you prepared for them to come knock on your door because they live in your community or you live in
And you
theirs?
have no one there to answer
Are
a call.
you prepared? Do you really feel that you represent the citizens in your fire district? Do you feel that you represent the people who are
Good
not
point.
firefighters in your fire district?
That's a good point.
That's who counts. Unless you're so self-absorbed that you think it's only about you.
Well, let me
and the
ask you
members
this,
of the
Rayford.
department.
You know, they were putting a safeguard into place. Like, if we're going to where we gave you $500,000 per year request on your budget items, what you would like to have. We were able to give you $500,000 this year. If you sign the contract, we're going to give you $1.5 million. Okay. And so, but we have to have some assurances. What happened with the swimming pool? The county signed, the city signed, the Board of Education signed with the assurance from the YMCA that if something happens and that goes belly up, where does the swimming pool go? Back to the county, city, and Board of Education, back to the
Yep.
taxpayers.
They will sell that facility and then they will split the proceeds.
Exactly. They can sell it or they can keep it open and running. Personally, I would sell it. You know, I don't want the responsibility, the liability. But, you know, I just think this whole thing got off the rails. And I think it just really bothered me between the online comments, which is easy to sit there on a keyboard and make comments, and the personal attacks on some of the
Keyboard
commissioners.
warriors.
And then some of the snickering and the laughing and the disrespect shown, not by everybody, but by some at the meeting last night. I just think it's uncalled for. The deadline's over. If you didn't sign, okay, go back. Everything's good. Wait till next year, renegotiate, and let's move on. But to disrespect some of your longtime friendships
That's
because
the
you
bad
don't
part.
agree, that was really, it hurt my heart for some of them.
You know, and one of the things, and as I stood there in our presentation and looked at the county commissioners, they're taking notes. They're not, you know, there's not always constant eye contact with you. If I'm a county commissioner, I was sitting up there, or you or Rafer were speaking, I may not be looking at you the whole time as a county
But you're
commissioner.
listening.
But yeah, I'm listening and I'm taking notes.
Because I don't remember everything.
No, you know, what was it, Lee? 2.5 hour, almost 3 hour meeting last night.
It was over three. It was 3 hours, 14 minutes, 16 minutes, something. Believe me, it's
something
long.
like that. You know, for any
Right.
individual to sit there and listen to that and try to remember back to the beginning of the meeting,
Right.
to the end of the meeting when they're actually making their comments, you know, and they're going down. I noticed Commissioner Knapp was looking at notes, and I think Tim did a good job of calming things down at the end of trying. Let's work together. We got a year. Let's work together. Let's sit down and talk and stuff.
I just think the whole thing was unnecessary.
You know.
I mean, I understand sometimes you come out with something new and you're like, I don't know about this. I don't really care for that.
But don't sign it.
But it
It's
was just a
okay.
group that decided to act like union bosses and take it a little further. I don't know. I've dealt with unions before.
And by the way, 910-333-0139. How's
Yes.
that? Did I do that okay?
Did I have that stamped on my
It
forehead?
looked that well. Well, you know,
You've
you always
called
saying,
it enough. You've
yeah,
called
I
it
can look
enough.
at it over there.
yeah, well, I call it all the time. So.
No, I
you
just want to say
If the
that
family wants
I
to
sure
talk.
hope that
Honestly, I don't think I've ever dialed that number.
I hope relationships and friendships can be repaired. So
It's, when calmer heads, when everybody settles down, and I'm not blasting even the people who were there. I'm blasting some of the attitudes that I hear about from what the descriptions are, and we picked up on some attitudes prior to last night's meeting. I don't really have a dog in this fight, except that it's my tax dollars.
I
Okay.
do, yeah.
It's
Tax
$8 million.
dollars.
Part of it's mine. And the thing is, I live in the city, but I have to pay county taxes.
That's right.
So part of my county taxes go for this. And the volunteer fire departments, okay, they drive right down the road out here in front of my house. And I will guarantee you that if there's a fire at this house, one of the fire stations is going to likely respond, because if they call it flames are
Mutual aid,
showing,
right.
Right.
there's
Mhm.
Pumpkin Center, which is about a mile and a
You can
quarter
walk
from here.
right over
They're
there.
going to be, their trucks going to be coming here too,
Piney Green.
because that's the way
Mhm.
things work.
It was a
So I'm not complaining about me by county tax dollars going to those fire departments. I support them, all 13 of them.
Yeah.
If they need 14, I'll support the 14th one too. But let's just do it the right way. If I disagree as a citizen with what's going on, either in my fire district, if I lived in that Pumpkin Center Volunteer Fire Department district right now, I don't. But if I did, when I did, and I didn't like the way things were going, I probably would be saying something. Okay?
But
That's
you
just way
have the
that
right to
is.
do that, but do it the right way.
But I would do it
Respectfully.
in the fire district. And if I didn't like the way the county commissioners were treating them today, I would probably, but I don't know enough about the volunteer firefighting operations today. I don't know what they're going through. I know what we're reading, what we're hearing, and I just don't. I may support them in not signing that contract. I don't know enough about it. I don't like the way that they're doing it. There's been plenty of time. What happened at the February meeting? What happened at the January meeting? Where were all of y'all? Yes, you elected, selected, whatever, 4 people of your own choosing from those 13 volunteer fire departments. You selected four fire chiefs to represent you. The county commissioners selected 3. They can't select 4. Selected 3 of their own to represent the county commissioners' interest. In other words, they had the fire chiefs outnumber the county commissioners. Duh. What's wrong with that? So they presented their case. They went back and forth, and back and forth is the way I understand it. Nobody has said otherwise. And did the fire chiefs during that time, those 4 fire chiefs, were they jumping up and down, screaming and hollering, trying to rally the troops? Apparently they were happy with this, is all I can say.
well,
Well, it's not
I don't
everybody. It's not
No.
everybody. It's just a small group that just I don't know, maybe they don't like being held accountable.
I don't know what they don't like. I'm not even going to presume that. I just know that the counties, their intention was, I think, honorable to respect and protect all of the taxpayers of Onslow County.
Right.
All of us.
And thank
Because
you,
we all live in the
volunteers.
county.
Thank you so much.
So we kind of demand that. And no, you can say you're not going to vote for them, but if they did not support and protect my interests in this county, I would not be voting for them. I'd be campaigning against them. We got a caller. Good morning.
It's Charlie.
Hey, Charlie, you're back.
Hey, yeah, sure. Listen, I don't know anything about Onslow County. I just Googled it for the first time. I may have Googled it before. You guys are on the coast, correct?
Correct.
Yes, we do.
we are.
Hear you?
Yes.
We're on
Let
the
me ask you a question. You guys are just talking about politics. I was checking in and out for the last 15 minutes.
So were we.
Are you all 3 of you happy with the individuals, I guess, that represent the county officials that represent Onslow County? Are you in
I am.
sync or step with them?
I would say for the most part I am.
For the most part, I mean, Charlie, like everybody, I don't always agree with everything they do. Obviously, I wouldn't know anybody that agrees with everything that a
Nope.
political
Well, let's just put it this way. I never agree with everything, okay?
No, I don't.
That's by my nature. I'm suspicious of everything. That's by nature.
But I always look for the positive.
Yeah,
As I should be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I respect them all.
Oh,
you know,
most definitely.
to do what they do, and yeah, they make some money. They're paid, but
Not
for them,
much,
for
but-
not for the hours, for the hours they put in.
They don't make minimum wage.
No, for the hours they put in, and a lot of them work. And I just respect anybody that will say, I will dedicate my next 2, 3, 4 years to represent the county, the city, whoever. I have a lot of respect for them. Do I always agree with them? No, but I'm going to give them the respect they deserve, and that's the same respect that I deserve.
Hey, Rayford, let me ask you a question. Why don't you run for some sort of political office?
Yeah.
I'd have to move to Pender County.
I was going to run for one thing one time, and I was told that I would be elected.
Dog catcher.
If I ran for the county line, I would be.
Oh.
They would help me get there.
I like that. Yep. Okay.
Well, no, seriously, hey guys, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Your viewership on YouTube, or I'm not sure where you guys broadcast to, or I mean, do the people in your community know who you guys are?
Yeah, you keep asking that question virtually every time you call, Charlie. Yes, they do.
Yeah, but I don't get it. Oh, so let me ask you a question. If I go to the local FM radio in your town,
Mm-hmm.
they probably have a large following, correct? Or the local AM
No,
program?
No,
not in this town.
unfortunately.
They used to have a lot more, but
How come you guys don't have advertisers?
because we don't sell.
Not right now.
Yeah, but you don't have to sell. I mean, it'd be nice if you need to hire someone to do production. You hire someone to do sales for you guys.
There's one. You use a 4-letter word there that we have a problem with.
What?
Hire.
Higher.
What we gonna pay them with? We don't have any advertising dollars coming in. I already contribute enough out of my pocketbook to keep this show running.
Hire them on commission.
Uh-huh.
I didn't have time for weather.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Charlie,
probably-
there are ways to do it. There's not one of us in here doing this for the money. Okay, obviously. We
There's
have a good
going
time
to be
now.
changes. It just
But when the time comes, when the time comes, and we get some things together, and so some other people get their mess together, then yes, we will be back on the radio, and yes, we will be selling, and yes, we will be making money.
going to be some big announcements.
I do like when you guys have guests on. It would be interesting to see you guys bring on some of the political people in your town, or maybe you've already had them on.
We have had a lot of them on.
Yeah. We've had a lot.
But don't be their friend. Don't always be someone's friend. Ask more hard-hitting questions, like the bad stuff.
Oh, I'm so glad you've given us advice. I really never would have thought of that, Charlie.
Rayford and I have been the subject of many of the video over that.
Before I said that, I thought to myself, I know he's going to say that. He's going to think that I know more than him. I literally thought that.
You just did that.
You're real smart, Charlie. You've informed us on how to do a podcast.
Yeah.
I was a police officer, Charlie. Maybe you could teach me how to interview people. I get it.
I was a news director at 2 TV stations at the same time. Okay, it was jointly owned, but I was in charge of 2 TV stations.
All righty then.
So,
What do you mean when you were in charge? Like you hired all the staff?
I was the news director, which is the biggest department, and I had I think this whole station had 100 people, and I had 45 of that 100 people. They belonged to me, body and soul.
What's the bill? Let me ask you, Rayford, let me ask you a quick question.
Yes.
From the first job you ever had, I'm not sure if you were like a paper boy or whatever. What's the best job you've ever had?
Paper boy.
The best job. Well, actually, even in high school when I had started diving, and then I was hired, instead of me going out and playing at McDonald's or whatever, flipping burgers for 28 cents an hour or whatever they paid in those days. People paid me $10 an hour to go down to retrieve things or to take ropes off of their props on these big boats, the shrimp boats and things down in one of our fishing communities. I made $10 an hour doing that while my classmates were making 75 cents an hour. I think was minimum wage in those days. I was making $10 an hour. That was my best job. I was in the water. I was underwater.
And
I
no
mean,
dog bites.
somebody paid me to do what I loved, and I still love it today.
Okay.
So,
Gotta go, Charlie.
Okay, all right, okay. Have a good day. Bye.
All
Bye.
right, Charlie. Talk to you later.
Bless him.
but that was fun. I had a
Yeah.
blast. Oh, it was
What was
kinda
your
like
first job,
Brer
Chris?
Rabbit. Don't throw me into the briar patch.
My first job was delivering newspapers, but the real first job was working at Johnson Drug Company downtown
Oh yeah,
near Bridge Street, making
the
deliveries.
Shields.
Making deliveries. Yes, Shield.
Yeah,
Dr.
I knew
Lou Shields.
You know the brothers, the twins.
Yep. And Mr. Denning, and that was fun.
Mhm.
Mr. Denny. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, that was
Haven't
our
heard that name
that
in
was
years.
our drug dealer of choice
Yes.
in the day.
Yes, it was. They did well. We delivered.
That's what I know. Sale and delivery of okay. Boaters and fishermen out there is looking okay this morning. And if you want to go near shore or offshore, don't do it in little boats because the seas close in. They're going to be sloppy. They're not going to be big to begin with. They're just going to be sloppy. Northeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 3 feet, but they're 3 seconds apart. When I say 2 to 3 feet and they're 8 seconds apart, you're cool. Gentle rollers. 3 seconds apart, slop, slop, slop. That's okay, though, a little sloppy in little boats especially. If you want to go out, find somebody to take you that's got a stable boat, a bigger boat, and somebody that knows what they're doing in sloppy weather. Sounds and rivers, a moderate chop. Water temperatures about mid-70s, 75 or so. Wednesday, tomorrow, 15 to 20 knot winds out of the southwest, increasing to 20 to 25 in the afternoon. Gusts to 30 knots. 30 knots is about 35 miles per hour. Yep, buddy.
Thank you.
Seas 2 to 4 feet, building to 4 to 6 in the afternoon. They're still going to be really close together. Sounds and rivers choppy. Then they're going to get rough in the afternoon. Thursday, less bad. Westerly winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 3 to 5. Sounds and rivers, a moderate chop.
Well, I have more good. Today, mostly today, mostly sunny with a high near 84. Light and variable wind becoming northeast 5 to 8. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms late tonight. Mostly cloudy with a low around 69. Wednesday, quit laughing. A chance of showers and thunderstorms, partly
knew what
sunny
you
with
were
a high
gonna
near
say.
89. And Thursday, a slight chance of showers, sunny with a high near 84. Go with your bad self.
Some news of the weird. You ready? Let's go to Kinston, K-Town. It's been called.
K-Town, that's what I call
The
it.
staff of a Circle K had the audacity to tell a customer to get out of their store.
No.
Oh,
A
yeah.
Circle K.
They apparently didn't care for his choice at close.
Oh.
He got mad and he yelled at the staff of the gas station, refused to get out. So the staff did what staff do. They called the gendarmes. Those are the French police. This happened Sunday afternoon. The poor guy, apparently trying to stay cool, wasn't too cool of a guy. His choice of clothing was his underwear, his drawers, and nothing else.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
When the long arm of the law arrived on the scene, they were introduced to 39-year-old Joseph Bailey, wearing only his drawers.
Wait. Joseph Bailey, do I know him?
No, he's skinned to Bill Bailey.
Okay.
Police officers requested that he... Why don't you come home, Bill?
Come on,
Police
Bill.
officers requested that he leave, and he again refused, started yelling, and then began fighting with the officers. Oh,
Where'd
that's
he
when the
go?
stupidity began. Subdued, he was taken to the Lord County Detention Center, a.k.a. is the county courthouse, and faces charges of second-degree trespass, felony assault on a law enforcement officer, and being intoxicated and disruptive. No kidding. I fought the law, and the law won. Again.
Bad
Now let's go to
boys.
Piney Green.
Oh,
Well,
Piney
can I
Green.
just real quick. That's good
God.
because this goes to Lee. This goes to Lee because
What?
she's a NASCAR fan. Remember Talladega Nights?
Yes.
Ricky Bobby,
Yes. Ricky
and
Bobby.
he thought he was on
My
fire,
hero.
and he was running around the racetrack in his underwear. He thought he was on fire. He wasn't. He's running around, and that's what I was picturing.
If you've never seen that movie, you've got to watch it. Now, I would not put that on my list of best movie ever,
No.
but
But when Ricky
I like
was
it
reading
already.
the
It's gonna be
story,
funny. I gotta see
it's
that
a
one now.
funny movie. It is.
that's
Yeah,
what
down here in Onslow County in Piney Green area, down the street here just a bit. The Onslow Sheriff's Office started getting calls about a peeping Tom earlier in the month. been about a month or so ago. Holy back crap. Is that still such a thing?
Oh,
yeah.
I know.
Peeping Tom, people
no.
looking at a woman to get a glimpse of naked flesh through a window from outside. Is that a thing? First, you're risking a lot, the least of which is getting arrested. The least of what is getting arrested, because y'all, you don't understand. There are people with guns and dogs and bats and pepper spray who live around here.
Yes.
Last Friday, the deputies managed to get the bad peeper identified. 36-year-old Archie Lee Winston got arrested, charged with secret peeping into a room occupied by a woman, jailed, and released under a $1,000 bond. It's a whole lot safer, much less likely to get shot or arrested if you just go online, visit a nudie bar, or get some binoculars and head for the beach.
I understand it was more than just peeping.
While not naked, you're bound to find some ladies that are close enough to being naked. In all seriousness, if you're thinking about sneaking a peek into a room where there's a woman, you might want to check with a counselor. I don't mean a lawyer. It's not unusual for a man to look, but sneaking a peek is near the top of the creepy list. I'm not kidding. There are people who do not know better, and they just might shoot you. Rock salt comes to mind, loaded in a shotgun shell. There's no ballistics on it. A loader number 12, really tiny, about the size of a small grain of sand, in your backside will burn you for a long time. It will send a message loud and clear, Lima Charlie, for some of you. There are people out there that just don't know any better than not to shoot you. I'm not kidding. Winston is charged with a misdemeanor. He has no criminal history in North Carolina until now. In North Carolina, whether a peeping Tom conviction leads to sex offender registration depends on the specific circumstances and the nature of the crime. Generally, misdemeanor level peeping does not require registration. Lucky, especially for first-time offenders. However, more serious offenses or subsequent violations can trigger sex offender registration requirements, and that's a life sentence and a surefire sign of not getting a job that you really want to apply for it. Factors influencing sex offender registration for peeping include severity of the offense. Most serious peeping offenses, like those involving minors or multiple incidents, are more likely to result in registration. Second or subsequent peeping convictions can mandate registration. And let me explain to you here too. This is where the equal rights stuff for women come into play. You know that if you decide to slip on over to where she lives and peek into her window in the middle of the night, you're going to be arrested, right? If she sneaks over and peeks into your window, no charge.
That's what it's all about.
What?
That's right. Secret peeping. Peeping Tom does not say Tom. Thomasina. Thomasina is Tom. Seriously, that's the way the general statutes are written. Yes, dear.
Do you remember the story? It was back in the late 70s, early 80s. That's Robin calling. Do you remember the old store right there at the corner of Waters Road and Old 30 Road?
Yep.
There was an old store right there. And there was gas pumps there. And there was a lady getting gas in her vehicle. And a man pulled up and sat there and exposed himself to her.
That's a decent exposure.
She took the gas. She reached into his car and she unleashed maybe a quarter's worth of gas on him. Do you remember that story?
I don't remember.
Oh my gosh, I'll never forget that.
Woo! Hey, you want a cigarette?
You got a light?
Thus, not safe to smoke around when you're pumping gas.
Don't make a woman mad.
Yeah, that too.
Yo, Robin.
I like that, Robin. Oh, Robin, did you ever have to chase a peeping Tom?
Actually, yes.
I did too. In New River.
Yeah, this individual would actually break in the rooms and touch women, and then he'd run out of the barracks room, and yeah, we did a big surveillance back in the early '90s, and we ended up getting in a foot chase. The guy was pretty doggone fast, but we caught him.
Well, what I liked was the guy that over in New River, he'd been peeping into people's, and every cop in town, every one of us were on the lookout and always patrolling New River. I lived over there at the time, but one of the guys got into a foot chase with him one night. That's when they had clotheslines.
Yeah.
Do you know where that whole thing you got clothesline came from?
Yeah,
From that one
exactly.
guy right there, because he hit a clothesline and flipped him over.
Those duplexes?
Yeah. Oh, buddy, that was. It's
I
hard.
miss having clothes on.
I wasn't there. I wish I had been, because I would have died laughing trying to get the cuffs on him.
Drying them.
Yeah, I thought that I had several of those cases. We actually chased people in known drug areas where the dealers and the street level dealers would string up chicken wire across a certain path.
Oh, yeah.
And we used to warn the young guys, when you go on a foot chase, I wouldn't go down the same path that they're doing. If they're skipping and hopping and jumping over chicken wire, that's your clue.
There you go.
But,
Send the dog.
What I was calling about was, there's a lot of talk. I've read a lot of the comments on different social media platforms, and that's fine. There's a lot of negative comments, and there's some positive comments and stuff. But a lot of people are looking at the commissioners as to why we said the certain things that we said. And to be quite honest with you, I wasn't really going to touch much on my comments in reference to the fire rescue contract, or the fire department contract. The Boy Scout tour, I thought that was great. I thought what you did, Chris, and your wife for Paul Buchanan was very touching.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you being there and presenting him with that award and recognizing his efforts. But when you sit there and you made a comment about commissioners taking notes, and I take very thorough notes. I can't get rid of that. That's from my cop days. I always
absolutely.
took very detailed notes, whether it was on a napkin or a piece of tissue, it didn't matter. I kept very detailed notes somewhere, and so that kind of just transferred over into my retired life. I still take notes on everything, and so I can go back, because I can't remember everything that's said. But certain things that that were said didn't bother me whatsoever, because everybody has a right to their opinion, and I cherish that opportunity for the citizens to come out and talk. But when we sit back as commissioners during the comment section and we say nothing, we don't make faces. We don't do anything out of the ordinary. Believe it or not, I'm listening to every word that someone is speaking when they're up there addressing the commissioners as a whole. I'm taking notes. And at that particular time, I'll make a decision in my own head as to whether or not I'm going to comment on it or answer or anything else. But what got me upset last night, to be quite honest with you, is that, I heard a phrase that one of the people used, and it's true. I agree with this person 100%. You can be a professional whether you're paid or not. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Yep. I have the utmost respect for our volunteers, the utmost respect for our first responders. I was a first responder for 27 years, so I get it. I understand that. And there's no way in the world that I was trying to equate law enforcement with the fire rescue, because we work hand in hand. But when I sit there and when you talk about professionalism and you talk about your trade and what you do, well, that goes both ways. And so the commissioners reserved their comments at the end, and what got me was, whether you agree or disagree with Chairman Bennett's comments, that's not the point. That's your prerogative. But when he was making his comments, I saw a lot of people laughing, smiling, giggling, poking each other, making under their breath comments that I could hear. They were very close, in fact, to getting gabbled. But you're not going to give it to Commissioner Bennett. Again, whether you agree or disagree, he said what he had to say, and
did a good job.
And that's his right. He reserved his comments for the end, and so when it came to my turn, if you noticed that most of the time during commissioner comments, we go through all the commissioners, then it's the vice chairman, which is myself, and then Chairman Foster make his comments. Well, Chairman Foster changed it up and let me go before several of the other commissioners for this particular reason. Is that I was offended by the lack of professionalism that was displayed in the audience. And, you have a right to your opinion, you have your right to feel what you feel. But when somebody gives you the respect and lets you talk and takes notes and doesn't do anything, doesn't say anything, and then when that person comes up to speak and you ridicule him openly, and I don't think a lot of the audience saw that because they don't pan out to the audience.
Right.
From where I'm sitting at the dais, well, I'm going to be honest with you, that infuriated me. They got me upset, and I did everything I could to take a deep breath, a swallow, and to be as calm as I could and to talk about respect because, you know, I'm a firm believer that, you know, if respect isn't just given, it's earned. And you earn that respect by listening to the other people, whether you agree or disagree, with professionalism, with maturity. If you disagree with them, so be it. You agree to disagree. So when I started speaking, I looked out at the audience, and a lot of the same people that were heckling were nodding in agreement. And to be honest with you, that kind of got me upset too. But I just maintained, and I had to say what I had to say. And again, I wasn't going to address the issue because it's a heated subject. Everybody's got their opinion. And suffice it to say that every commissioner on that board that sits up there for Oswego County have the best interest at heart for the citizens of this community. But for the citizens, they're the taxpayers. They're the ones that we are the stewards of their money that we're trying to look for, and we gave them a very nice contract. But besides that, if you're sitting there, you know, and you disagree with the comment, don't make a face, don't roll your eyes, don't giggle, don't laugh, don't bump your buddy next to you.
I agree.
And that's I wanted to come on the radio to tell you that because I wanted you to hear it from me firsthand. And it's frustrating because, like Commissioner Buchanan has the longest term memory for his commissioner is concerned is on the Fire Rescue Commission. And him and Tony Padgett and Lisa Carpenter worked diligently on the ad hoc committee to get this information presented to come to a certain agreement. But, you know, I can literally see the hurt in Commissioner Buchanan's eyes, and just talking to him, it wore him down because, you know, he has a lot of friends that sit as volunteer fire departments. So does Mr. Padgett. And they work diligently hard on this. But when you get up there and when you do that and you're trying to fight for the citizens of this county, if then you're ridiculed in the crowd that you're not taken seriously, then how do you expect us to take you seriously? I mean, you know, we show you the respect, we listen to what you have to say. Well, we have all right to say what we want to say if we choose to at the end of the comment section.
You do.
Well,
And,
Robin,
you know,
I'm sorry. The one thing that bothers me is these fire departments had a choice. They were not being mandated. They had a choice. So why are we fighting over a choice? If you choose not to sign, okay. If you choose to sign, okay.
Well,
it's the bottom line is that we're providing additional funding for the firefighters because we as commissioners understand the importance and and how important they are to our community and what they mean to our community. And I addressed it last night. People trying to say, well, you know, when I was trying to talk last night, I was addressing the fact that I know how important they are from a personal standpoint, having ambulances dispatched to my house for my wife, for my dad, for my mother-in-law, and my daughter. So I understand, and I understand what a great job they do. I mean, unbelievable job that they do. And so we're trying to take care of the fire department. A lot of people don't want to see that because they're not reading the facts. They're not understanding why we're doing the things that we're doing. Now, when you talk about wordsmithing a contract or certain words, certain phrases, fine. That's all pre-negotiation stuff that we can come to an agreement to and just change this or that it's a minor tweak or whatnot. But the bottom line is, as commissioners, we're looking out for the taxpayers of Oswego County. All of us, 230,000 residents of this county, we're looking out for you and trying to maintain a standard and to give you additional funding. And we've given them a tremendous amount of funding to keep our fire departments up and going. And there is no, you know, one of the rumors I heard that, you know, we want to get rid of the volunteer fire departments and provide a Oswego County-wide fire department. Let me specifically say right now, that is not true. That is the farthest thing from the truth. It would be 3 times more expensive if we stood up an Oswego County Fire Department.
Oh, at least.
And we're not stupid, and we're not going to do that and waste taxpayers' money.
Well, you would have to, because if they're paid, you got different salary, you got insurance, you got all this
Mhm.
Other benefits.
other
everything.
Well,
benefits.
there are a lot of factors that are involved, and suffice it to say, it would be massively expensive. But we are not in that business, and we are not trying to do that. That's the furthest thing, believe it or not. And some people won't believe us because they think I'm just a politician spewing stuff out of my mouth. We don't want that. We want to maintain our volunteer firefighters, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And they're the backbone of this community. They're the
Yeah.
backbone of lifesavers that are out there, as first responders. So, yes, we're human. You mentioned that, commissioners are human. Yes, we are human. We take a lot of abuse as commissioners, especially some of us that have been on the board for 10 plus years. We've taken a lot of abuse over the years over issues that are small and some issues that are bigger. But all the commissioners were elected by the citizens, and they trust us, and we don't take that trust lightly.
Yeah.
And we try to make the best decisions, that we feel represent the community. And so it does bother me that when I have a fellow commissioner who's usually a tough guy, okay? Paul Buchanan is a pretty tough guy.
Yeah.
Vietnam War veteran, Marine, JPD officer,
Narc.
county deputy, wounded twice in Vietnam and wounded as a county sheriff. He's a pretty tough guy, but when I see the pain in his eyes, and I see how this is really bothering him, he couldn't sleep. He hasn't slept for a couple of days regarding this issue. That bothers me too, because I know how much the volunteer firefighters mean to him and how dear and near to his heart it is. So, and I'm the kind of person that I can listen to people, and I may disagree with you, but I'm not going to argue with you, and I'm not going to get into a shouting kick match with you.
Yeah, leave that to us. The one thing I will say is I want all of us need to understand too. These firefighters, they are professionals from the get-go. They're volunteers, but they're professionals, and they have the same compassion and the passion that Robin had as a cop, as I had, as any first responder has. They have the same passion of their work. I mean, it is all-consuming. Even though they do it as a volunteer, it can be all-consuming. It's dangerous work.
Well,
It's very
Well,
dangerous.
it takes a very special person to
It
be a
does.
volunteer firefighter. It really does, because when you're going out there and you're not getting paid, that means your true intent is in your heart, that
Yeah,
you have a
that's right.
passion to serve your community. And I respect that tremendously. As cops, as paid members of law enforcement or firefighters or whatever, we get paid a salary. I understand that. But you can tell the difference between those that are getting paid, that are doing the job, that go above and beyond because the passion is with them.
well, I think
They love what they do, and they're professionals. And so the firefighters are very much so professionals. They are very much so, even more so than most people. I have a tremendous amount of respect for them. I have a tremendous amount of admiration for them for what they do, and that's bar none. And I mean that sincerely. But just remember, with the commissioners, though, a lot of us have law enforcement background. A lot of us have different other areas of background experience in certain fields. But all of us, the one thing that we all share, all 7 commissioners that are up there, is a passion to serve the citizens.
Sure.
That's why we ran for office. We knew that we were going to catch garbage at times, and we knew that we were going to be criticized, but we keep marching. And, and it does bother the commissioners. And if you look at Chairman Foster, we've had many, many talks. I talk to him probably more so than I do Kelly during the day about certain issues. It's because he cares. If we didn't care, if we didn't really care about what was going on in the community, we wouldn't be talking to each other. We wouldn't be having workshops. We wouldn't be having meetings and ad hoc committees. And so when people say that, they say things about the commissioners that we don't understand, yes, we do understand.
Okay.
We understand completely. And you just need to give us a chance to show that we understand, and what we're trying to do is for the betterment of the citizens.
Robin, we appreciate what you do, and you mentioned the law enforcement, you mentioned the volunteers. There are some out there that really understand about the volunteers, because some of us worked as unpaid law enforcement officers, same training, and they'd be required the same basic law enforcement training as the guys who were getting paid. as reserve officers or auxiliary officers, depends upon what location you're in, and as paid officers. So, I understand the volunteer part of it. Just like, and my passion was there the whole time. And I understand the paid part of it as well. It's just, and I feel for the volunteers. I really do.
With all due respect, Robin, you'll remember this part of it. Chairman Foster, I'll call him Tim because we work together, but he said, "You guys are crazy." That is what volunteer firemen are. They're crazy because they go in, they chase fires. They go in to a fire.
I don't want to do it.
No, law enforcement, they go into dangerous situations every time
That's
they step
usually-
out to the
That's
house.
usually people.
Yes.
People I can control. Fires I can't.
No, but it takes that special type of person
Yep,
to do it, and the passion. Robin, you were just talking about that. And these volunteers have a passion to protect the citizens, as the county commissioners are trying to protect the citizens.
And protect the volunteers.
Yes.
Yeah, there's an old saying in law enforcement, we always see each other with the volunteer fire department or fire people or EMS. Cops are not afraid to run towards gunfire, and we think firefighters are crazy for running into a burning house. And then firefighters think that we're crazy for running towards gunfire. They'd rather run into a burning house. So, it's a different kind of passion, but nonetheless, both of us serve a simple cause, and that's to serve and protect the citizens of our community. And that's what people need to understand. And we're doing everything we possibly can for our community. And most of the commissioners, I say every one of us, we're very proud to be members of the community, be elected and serve Onslow County. That's just part of our job.
Sounds good.
It's tiring at times, but that's just the nature of the beast. But anyway, my hat's off to the volunteer fire department people.
Everybody.
Mutual respect.
The great
and
people.
I appreciate the time to let me voice my opinion.
Robin, before you go, let me say we'd like to thank you for your support, your continued support for Reson and our fallen veterans. Thank you very much for that.
Well, anytime.
You take care. Yeah, I did on the way to Wrightsville Beach PD one night to run breathalyzer.
Mm-hmm.
I guess somebody else was going to run the breathalyzer. State trooper was in front of me.
Mhm.
And it was the middle of the night. As we're approaching the bridge there at Wrightsville Beach, there was a fire coming out of a house on our right, and no fire trucks there. And I said, "Whoops!" I made a quick call, handcuffed the guy to my steering wheel, got out, and the trooper got out. We went to the back door. We were screaming and hollering, beating on the front door. Nobody's coming. Two-story house. Nobody coming. And we said, "What are we gonna do?" Robert said, "We can probably get entrance through here." We kicked that door. Don't ever do that. I had no hair on my arms. I had no eyebrows.
Backdraft.
I learned that from watching Chicago Fire.
Well, I didn't. There was no Chicago fire in those days. We didn't know. We're not firefighters.
Yeah, I get you.
Those
I say,
backdrafts.
It was. They came rushing out, and I said, "What? Who's that? Shoot it!"
What happened?
I
Crazy.
I said, "Won't do that again."
I have no eyebrows. What happened?
I had no eyebrows.
Will you ever light a
singed.
gas stove and get too close to it and
Okay.
No, I wouldn't do that.
or grill?
True story. True story. I was with military affairs. We're doing a fish fry out at the base. I'm not going to mention any names.
Keep your affairs quiet.
Can't
But-
wait for this one.
So we had got the gas grills. We had the gas turned on, but there's two doors to them. And I was telling the other person that was helping, I said, "I'll let you know when to light that." He lit it ahead of time. I flew 150 feet. No, Lee, you're right, because first thing they
Fireball.
did, they were putting ice and cold water on my face.
Right.
And stuff. And my dad, God rest his soul, he was there. I called
Oh,
him.
Lord.
And I said, "Do me a favor, call Kathy and say the marriage is probably off because you don't want to marry someone as ugly as I'm going to be." But that's the things that they face. Obviously, they got the uniform
they
and
do.
stuff, but
Ours was just a real flash, and I got the most of it. But it just hit the hair real fast. Burning hair stinks too, by the way.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
God, I'll never forget that one.
Yeah.
But the skin, I didn't get any skin. I mean, it was red, but I had nothing, no serious anything.
Another reason why to always tie your hair back when you're cooking.
Uh-oh. You got a story?
I
Okay.
just had to pick on
that. Oh,
You and I don't have that issue.
well, no. I got reminded that yesterday.
Oh, I do it every day.
Chris, you brought up something a little while earlier, and I have got to expound on it. You were talking about NASCAR. Did you
Oh,
watch the?
okay.
No, did you watch?
Go
Stop.
round
Did
and
you-
round the
It's no
track.
more than that. Did
They
you
only go to
watch the
straight
race?
line.
Stop. Did you watch the race Sunday night, the
Yes, I-
All-Star race?
Yeah.
Did you see the beginning ceremonies when they did the national anthem and the two chopters flying over from
Oh,
the
no, I missed
flyover?
that part. No.
Guess where they were from?
No,
The
really?
air station here.
Really?
They put
Cool.
from Jacksonville, North
They
Carolina.
did, well,
I was like, yes.
Yeah,
It was
good.
two of the CH.
53s.
Yeah, sounds
Wow.
good.
Yeah.
Two of the
They're
big
up to
copters, yeah.
53 H's, I think, now.
And they had the back of them open, and
Oh,
there was
cool.
a couple servicemen sitting there with big American flags.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It was
the little
awesome.
ramp down the back.
Yes,
Oh.
but they always do
They're fun.
flyovers
Yeah.
at these races at the beginning.
Mhm.
And sure enough, they said from Jacksonville, North Carolina.
They're usually what, the F-150s?
Yes,
The
usually
flyover?
the
Yeah.
jets fly. But you know,
That is
Yeah,
so cool.
I like
sometimes
the
that
choppers
gets-
flying over.
they look like they're going to touch.
Yeah.
though, and I'm just like, please don't fall and mess up the track.
That would delay the race, right?
Yeah, it would be a red
Oh,
flag
yeah,
for
that-
sure.
that'd be a red flag.
Current FBI director is not going to make a lot of friends among those people who have thought they were above the law because the Bureau brass of the past gave them a free walk. Kash Patel is working on convincing the public that, admittedly, lost a lot of faith in the world's elite law enforcement agency. He's trying to get them to come back on board, the rest of us, because we lost a lot of respect for the FBI. Right? We shouldn't
Right.
have, but it wasn't the Bureau, it was the brass. With investigations of what appeared to be a slam dunk, especially in one case, suddenly being dropped with nothing to see here attitudes, Patel says those days are over. Case in point, the FBI's handling, he says, of the Hillary Clinton email investigation of political bias and institutional failure is what he calls it. He claims senior officials within the Department of Justice hijacked their constitutional responsibilities by selectively deciding which cases to pursue. He outright accused former FBI Director James Comey, the good old 8647 guy, of playing politics. He said that Comey and others specifically decided what cases to prosecute and not to prosecute. As evidence, he urges us, all of us, believers or non-believers, to look at the videotape in the Clinton investigation. It's available. Go pull that information. He pointed out that the Bureau does not decide, they're not supposed to decide what cases they're investigating, and neither does any agent or intel analyst decide which of those cases that they will send up the line for prosecution. Those are the duties of the Attorney General staff. The FBI investigates reports of criminal activities. The Bureau turns over all of the evidence gathered to the AG for evaluation. Patel said that new agency leadership has uncovered, scary here, additional details regarding the Crossfire Hurricane investigation into President Donald Trump's ties to Russia, and the Bureau is working with Congress to put out information surrounding the episode. That is going to be interesting. Patel took direct aim at the Comey gang. That would be an interesting book title, right?
Oh,
Just
there
kidding.
is
It's
one.
already in print and really worth reading now. Available at Amazon with local author and retired FBI agent John Legato.
Our friend.
The current director said those in charge not only bastardized the FISA process and lied to the American public, they withheld and hid documentation and put it in rooms where people were not supposed to look. But guess what? The new agency has found the keys to the room, and we're all going to be shocked, according to Mr. Patel. Maybe all y'all will be, but I doubt that I will be surprised whatsoever. Speaking of dear old Hillary, the wannabe president is telling Republican women, that would be you, Lee,
I
that
saw
should
that.
one of them ever get elected president, she would be nothing more than a servant of the patriarchy simply because of her sex. Seems she is still blaming everyone but herself for her failures to get elected. I guess she's forgetting, happens as you get older these days,
Well,
that
Hillary-
a black Democrat male, Barack Obama, shut her out before she could get a foot in the door in her first run for the office. Her really bitter loss came when a political neophyte named Donald Trump, a brash, harsh man, beat her at her own game in 2016, sending her crying back to her husband. And of course, in 2020, the Democrats decided that as a loser, she stood no chance against Trump and put Biden in as their choice and the ultimate winner for 2024, even when Biden finally succumbed to the party's pressures and pulled out of the race after getting the nomination. Her fellow Democrats didn't even give her a second glance, selecting someone even more unpopular than Hillary to go against Trump. So, Ms. Clinton, it's not that you're a woman, not that you're a Democrat. Perhaps it's that the reason no one wants you is because you're you. Check the mirror, mirror on the wall. How many times do you have to fall?
Have you
Retract your claws and get prepared for another honest FBI investigation into your email shenanigans when you were Secretary of State. That's coming, girl.
I saw that story. I started reading it and I said, and scrolled on by. I was just like, whatever.
Oh, I didn't. It's too much room for me to have fun.
Well, yeah, and I could say some things, but then I would be doing what I just accused some people of doing last night. So I'm going to refrain. Saying things that are not appropriate.
Are they?
Like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Are they real?
Yes.
Are they accurate?
Well, I don't know. It came from media sources. You were talking about John Legato. I just have to tell you, he's got 2 new videos. One came out 53 minutes ago. I do. Well, just looking at the
He's so
titles
funny.
gets my blood pressure up. But he's got one. Anselmo harasses a female officer. This is a disturbing encounter caught on camera between a female police officer and one of those First Amendment people. And then he's got another one, frauditor arrested for cursing. And, that's a whole nother thing. I believe you have a First Amendment right, but you know what? I think there's a time and a place for the use of certain words.
Well, our laws, with no laws on the books whatsoever, not a law in the world ever, in this, at one point in time, there were no laws.
Right.
You had rights.
Right.
But your rights, you could kill people, except for one thing. You would be interfering with their rights. Mm-hmm. Your right ends where my rights begin. It does not matter what other laws are on the books. If you think that you have a right to get into my face, your ability to have that right ends when you get into my face. Because my right is for you to keep your distance.
Well, look at this one. Now, this is
bottom line.
The one that I was just talking about. He said the auditor shouts about his right to film and invokes claims of tyranny and constitutional oppression, saying he's being denied his First Amendment right to tell an officer to peanut butter off. Okay, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He demands a supervisor declares he has 2 grams of cocaine in his posterior backside and accuses officers and staff of battery when asked to stop entering secure areas. To me, this is when your First Amendment rights stop.
Well, that reminds me, I told you that story
You're
about
under arrest, and now you don't have any rights because you belong to me. If I place you under arrest, your future belongs to me.
I go back to that lady that got pulled over, 53 and a 35, saying, I want to see the video. I want to see your radar gun. I want to do this. I'm not getting out of the car. I want your supervisor. Next thing you know, her car gets smashed. She gets arrested.
Car
her
gets
rate's
towed.
going up. She got her ticket.
All that
stupid.
over. If you just pulled over, put your hands on the steering wheel, been polite to the officer, gave him the information that he needed, and then he already said, slow down, have a good day.
Yeah.
He may or may
Don't
not
over.
write you a ticket.
That's
if
right.
you go cop an attitude, I'll guarantee you're going to get a ticket.
Here's the other
It's
video.
earmarked.
The Anselmo harasses the officer. My page moved. One second. The video opens with a bizarre and chaotic interaction where a frauditor sarcastically claims to have drugs on his person and
Bless your heart.
resists law enforcement commands. From there, we jump into a courthouse confrontation where the frauditor and Selma
Courthouse.
relentlessly questions
Father, who art in
officers
heaven.
about constitutional
you.
amendments, particularly the seldom cited Third Amendment. When the officers admit they don't recall the amendment off the top of their heads, we're talking about third now. Then El Selmo pounces, claiming it proves they're unfit for duty. See, I can't watch these things. I just.
I sit there and watch them, and I'm like, this is funny.
Where does John find these things?
They're all over the place, and so
Good Lord.
it's everywhere.
Every time I get a ding, because I've got set on all notifications
I
for him.
have to.
Every time I get a ding, I
So,
go,
I don't watch them on my computer. I watch them up there on the 65-inch big screen
I watch
because I
mine
just
on-
like to see them.
Yeah.
I watch mine on my remote TV, that one on wheels that I carry around. I will tell you what, the other night I had NASCAR on my mobile TV. I had the Storm Chasers on my laptop. And then on the other TV, what did I have? What was opposite? Oh, American Idol.
Oh, God.
I had 3 TVs going at one time.
No wonder she's like she is. Have you ever wondered why she's like she is? She
Yeah.
just told you. Oh, okay. And I guess that doofus Schumer is catching a lot of flack
Well done.
Good.
from blaming
Well
Donald
done.
Trump for disemboweling the Coast Guard and not
Ooh.
allowing them to go out to rescue the people and keep that from happening. No.
There
So
was more interesting stuff coming out about the naval ship that hit the bridge in New York City. We'll wait and see.
there was a Mexican naval vessel.
Yeah,
Okay. just
That's what
make
I
that
meant.
Perfectly clear.
it looked more like a party boat to me. Did you?
Well, no,
Pirate.
it's a training ship. It's
Yeah,
what it
it's-
is, a training vessel.
They had
It's a 300
tacos.
footer. It's about 300 feet long. It's a sailing
Yeah,
vessel.
yeah,
It's
I
kind
saw
of
it.
like the Coast Guard has
I
got
saw
the
it when it
Eagle.
hit. Yeah, they showed the video, but
The Eagle, have you ever seen the Eagle? The Coast Guard's Eagle? It's a training vessel too. So it's a tall ship. And it's cool. It's beautiful. It's all white.
Mhm.
And I've been on it. It's a really nice boat.
now there's some
It's a big boat.
accusations about the tugboat that was helping it. So
The
I don't know.
tugboat
By
just
the way,
cut him loose. They pulled him loose, and that was all his duty was to get him out into the river.
Right.
And then they were their engine was started. Their engine
did
won,
no one think
but it went
about?
into reverse and wouldn't come out.
Did no one think about the 160 foot?
I think that's going to hit the bridge.
Well, what are you going to do about it? I mean, that boat was flying. It was in backup gear.
Yeah, true. But let me ask you this: when they get close to the bridge, where do they push a button and lower them? I mean, compensate
They
for
were
the
not
height.
going. They weren't planning to go under the bridge. They were going the other ways, trying to.
Oh,
That bridge is not tall enough for
That's
that
what
boat
they
to
meant
go
by
underneath.
going the wrong way. Okay.
Yeah.
The mates that were up on the
Yep.
they were trying to, I guess, lower it
Well,
quickly.
They go
Yes.
up there to lower flag. I
Right.
mean, they're
Right.
already in position. They didn't
Yeah.
go up there after the
Mhm.
fact. They're pre-positioned up there to drop the sails.
Right.
Because the sails unfurl, they call it,
Mhm.
and they come down as they're horizontal. I think the second mast has got the triangular different stuff in there. But anyway, congratulations to our friend at WITN, the anchor there.
Got
Dave
married this
Jordan.
weekend.
Really?
He got hitched on Saturday.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Married a young lady.
Beautiful.
You know
young
how he
lady.
met her?
How?
He interviewed her at a live tree lighting ceremony or something in 2019. Met her, interviewed her live, and then he went from there. It took 6 long years, but he went from there.
But that was a great interview.
Apparently.
Had
The
a good
medical
ending.
helicopter last night had to make an emergency landing in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. And they landed right on somebody's yard in the neighborhood. Everybody's okay, but could you be sitting there and here comes a helicopter landing in your yard?
When my brother-in-law was flying,
Right.
and they were on their way back to Quantico.
Didn't they stop in your yard one time?
No, I had a little chopper fly on here. No way, good God, they better not stop here. That was a big chopper. But they had to land. They get warnings, hydraulic warnings, or this kind of a warning, or that kind of a
Right.
warning. So they immediately put it down, and they found a clear area, and it wasn't very far from a house. It's on the Outer Banks, sand.
Right.
Yeah.
The guy just painted his house, so he came out. So you boys, all right? Appreciate the paint job because you gotta have to paint the whole house again because all that rotor wash put up the sand all over it. So anyway, it was fun. That's what he told me. he's given me a lot of funny stories about those days. Oh my! Had to spend the night down in Louisiana, I think it was, with the chopper because
Crawdad
they had to put
country.
it down and they can't leave it. They got to provide security for those particular choppers especially. And the ladies from the neighborhood were bringing them food, and it was a lot better than the MREs they had on board. Okay, we're going to talk about bike safety tomorrow, motorcycle safety.
We are?
And,
Do we have somebody coming in?
Not yet, but I'm working on it. And,
Tomorrow's not good.
I know it won't be tomorrow, but I'll just mention it tomorrow, and we'll promote it. I'm invited somebody to come in for next week.
I got you. Tomorrow is our Adopt an Animal Day. And we have Vicki Brown with Adoption First Rescue
Oh, God, what are
coming
you
in.
going to adopt this time?
She might be bringing in a kitty this time.
Oh,
We've got enough. I'm going to give her one of ours. I thought we were going to take it to her to begin with, but that didn't work out.
I need a recall on my latest adoption. That dog is crazy. He's chewed up all.
It's the environment. It's
God.
not.
I love him. I would never let him go, but he is like having a preschool child, like a 2-year-old.
from a young lady that has 3 TVs going at one
Yeah, I
time, and
know.
one of them's American Idol. American Idol.
Right.
I've watched that show
Think
since
about
it
that for
first
just a second.
started. 25, was it 25 years ago?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you in the morning. We've got a bunch going on. Dr.
Yes.
Rosemary Stein, of course, and then Adoption First is going to be
That's
in here
right.
with a critter.
That's right.
You should probably
She cannot bring any snakes in. You know that, right? Well, she can,
She
but
would not.
She won't
She
leave
would
with them
not. She
intact.
would not. She would
It's just I have a history. You're live and local, real talk, and we're always. Is Kelly going to be back tomorrow?
I hope so.
Okay,
I hope so.
and we do appreciate Chris coming in all
Yeah,
the
it's
time.
my pleasure.
And you can come in even when Kelly's here.
He
Thank
makes.
you.
I like it because he
Yeah.
always stirs up controversy.
Oh, he does. He can. I just throw a grenade. Then he pulls the pin on it.
Yeah, we started and we sit back and let Chris have to deal with it.
Boom. We'll see you in the morning. Y'all be safe out
Have a
there.
great
Bye,
day.
y'all.